Hi, this is Mario, and I'm a tarot, ritual, and tea master who loves helping people cultivate personal empowerment, right alignment, laser like intuition, and become the master of their own relationships through tarot and ritual. So today we're talking about intermittent fasting and tea. Now, you may be wondering, what does intermittent fasting and tea have to do with ritual or anything else for that matter? Well, it's actually nothing new. And it's something that I've recently discovered through my own journey. And what I revisited and relearned is that tea and intermittent fasting helps me to cultivate laser like intuition and clarity. Over this last year, I've lost about 50 pounds, all through intermittent fasting and exercise. That's it. And I took breaks too, to just help myself recover from a lot of working out and a lot of intermittent fasting, and then went right back to it. And then during these times, I've noticed a shift in my personal intuition and how well it works. And I noticed there's a difference between when I was intermittent fasting and when I wasn't. And I did more research to find out what was going on, and little did I know, this had already been discovered thousands of years ago in China through the monks. So there you go. There is no greater confirmation of truth than something that's been around for thousands of years. So I can tell you point blank, I'm not going to be sharing anything new, but I hope to share it in a new way. This isn't a video about intermittent fasting, and I'm sure you know all about it. There is just endless treasure troves of information online, and that's not what this video is about. This video is about intermittent fasting and tea together. But just a brief summary of what intermittent fasting can do for you. The potential that's there is regenerating stem cells, lowering heart rate and blood pressure, flushing fat cells, triggering healing in cells. The very idea of going without food actually triggers healing, and I just love saying that because it's so counterintuitive. But also it reduces stress or the effects of stress. It can restore your gut health. It can improve your memory, your cognition function, it can refresh your senses, and it can boost weight loss and reset metabolism. Those things are absolutely huge. But one thing that no one ever talks about is the effect of intermittent fasting on intuition. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. So what are some of the effects of intermittent fasting and tea on your intuition? Well, greater clarity and focus, a quick download time, as some people say, of accessing that intuition. Less time in understanding that intuition. So it's clarity from two sides. It's clarity from getting it and clarity in understanding it a lot faster. But also the increase in personal empowerment of undertaking such a thing creates a stability within us that really opens us up and allows us to access areas that we may not be able to access before. It all depends on where you start out. But definitely personal empowerment adds a stability through taking action, achieving a goal or a plan, and pursuing aspirations to an end result. You can't get away from that. The last thing is there was a lot more or a lot less questioning and more understanding. So those things in itself are worth their weight in gold. A little bit of sacrifice of some food is totally worth it, but you don't have to sacrifice everything. Tea's here to help. And I like to think of tea not as just a plant, not as just a tree, but as a spirit guide, and used within a tea ritual. That's exactly what tea becomes. It becomes a spirit guide. And this is the best and most easiest explanation I can give you about the role of tea in a ritual from a Western point of view. One of the secrets of tea is that anything can actually be tea. So the idea of using tea for spiritual attainment, for spiritual development, is nothing new, but also it is very successful. You can use other things. There can be, and you could use a hobby. There really is anything that music can also take the place of tea. But what's different about tea, what is unique about tea, is that tea is accessible for everyone. It is simple. It does not take a lot of learning, and even the practice or the experience or the experimental part of learning tea in itself can also be spiritual development. So it's you can do it tea anywhere. It is very accessible. It's not expensive, and it's universal. Not every one of us has a gift for music. Not every one of us can say we have a gift for, running, which is another great swap out for tea. Running. People will attest to it. But everyone, for the most part, can access tea. Now, if you happen to be one of those people who cannot tolerate perhaps the caffeine in tea, there actually is no caffeine tea. So there is alternatives for you. The real gift of tea is that it's enjoyable. And I don't know about you, but there's a lot about spiritual development that happens to be, well, let's just say painful. Or something that you have to walk through, that you have to process, that can be difficult. So you could get to that gift, that extraordinary spiritual gift. Tea happens to come at it from a different angle. And that is one reason why the gift of tea, of the tea ritual, is so very popular. Let's talk about why you want to add tea to your fasting, your intermittent fasting ritual. So intuition operates on a gut level. In fact, there are some scientific evidence to prove that somehow the gut biome may actually cooperate with the heart to create some kind of intuitive feeling or intuitive knowledge, which I absolutely love. But the compelling judgment is often based on our mindsets. So no matter what intuition has for us, it does get influenced and possibly even filtered through our mindset. And this is where intuition can get into trouble for some of us. Now, the flaw is we are biomechanical beings interpreting non-biological, non-temporal information. So obviously there is an inherent flaw in intuition, right? And that flaw can be managed. This flaw affects everybody. I don't care how long they have been an intuitive, how long they've been a psychic, or what their abilities are. But who you are biochemically and who you are in your mind does directly influence your accuracy, your understanding, and your ability to access your intuition. In fact, did you know that fear can often imitate intuition, and that we can often not even know the difference? That's how much we can be fooled by the flaw in trying to read or access our intuition. In fact, in September, this month, and actually in about a week or so, we're actually releasing a new box that comes with a workshop. Now, inside our spooky tea box for September, we're talking about fear. We're talking about how fear can affect you, how you can overcome fear and work with fear, but how you can make fear a friend and how you can keep it from affecting your intuition. So in the comments below, if you're interested in finding out more about this tea box, what's in the tea box, and how these classes can help you and what kind of tea rituals they come with, hey, be sure to sign up for more information below. So for intermittent fasting, the only spirit guide for this is tea. Now, there is a coffee that's out that people love to use for intermittent fasting, and I need to let you know that is based off of a old tea ritual from Nepal area, and they did use tea. This other way uses coffee, and it is used for a different reason, not for the reason we're talking about here. The original and the tried and true spirit guide for intermittent fasting is tea. So one main question that I get is, what kind of tea should you use? Well, let's review that real quick. First of all, there is only one tea tree. There may be different cultivars of tea. There may be different leaves that are picked at different times, but there is only one tea tree. There is no black tea tree. There's no oolong tea tree. There's no pure tea tree. There's nothing like that. There is one tea tree. That's it. That's all you get. The difference is in the way the tea is processed. So, one of the teas that I highly recommend for intermittent fasting is pu'er. It is spelled Pu-ER, and then sometimes there is an H in there. So, pu'er is a tea that is fully fermented, and as the name suggests, this fully fermenting process does support healing and maintenance of a healthy gut biome. And it is the first tea that I recommend, but with a warning. Pure tea is very much like wine. There are many different ways to make it, and many different ways to make it taste. And there are some tastes of pure tea that is not necessarily very popular. They can often taste like, they can have a barnyard kind of taste. They can have a dirt kind of taste. They can even have other kinds of taste that you might find repugnant. You'll need to try the different kinds to find that work for you. Just want you to be aware that not all pu'er tea tastes the same, and you must sample the tea. So I encourage you to go to a tea shop and sample it before you purchase pure tea. You can break open blocks of tea, of pu'er tea, which happens to be aged. And that is, again, another way of making different tea, is how long that tea is aged. But there are definitely more nutrition in pure tea than there is in any other kind of tea. And pure tea supports liver, detoxing a fatty liver, processing, a healthy processing of fats. It is known to lower cholesterol, outside of the fact that it improves gut health and provides antioxidants. So the next most nutritious tea after that would be black tea. And black tea is partially fermented. There are many different kinds of black tea. Most of them are equally as beneficial. But then there is green tea. Green tea is a little younger leaf that's hardly processed. And then your next tea after this is white tea. I'm not even talking about yellow tea today because it's actually so rare right now in the world, and not a lot of people drink it. So the next would be the white. And the white is the youngest tea, highest in antioxidants, but it's also picked very young, and it is hardly processed. It has a lot of cardiovascular benefits, but not, and a lot of gut benefits too, but not as much as pu'er. So if you like green tea and you want a really healthy, supportive green tea, I would highly recommend, rather than the regular leafy green tea, is the matcha tea. Matcha tea is made out of the whole leaf. So if you don't like pu'er, don't want to get into pu'er, would like to stick with the green, if you can, change to matcha. Matcha tea is the whole leaf tea. Besides the stems and the vein, the whole leaf is ground up into a powder. It is far more nutritionally beneficial than it is just the leaf. In fact, just the leaf of steeping the leaf is not as great a way of getting out the nutrition as there are in other things, such as making a tincture. But electrolytes is another concern. Besides dehydration and getting all those liquids in, losing salt is a real concern. In fact, losing salt can give us dehydration that makes us feel that we're hungry when we're not. So adding tea not only helps us quench our thirst during a fast, but adding a pinch of salt will help us add in the electrolytes back in that we are losing. One of the attributes of electrolytes is that it increases and or maintains our electrical impulses, especially while we're fasting. So this can be a really big one. But you add the type of salt, because there's many different kinds of salt, with essential oils or herbs, and you have something completely different and something completely magical. I will be talking more about salt and magical concoctions and how they play out in tea in another class that I want to invite you to in just a minute. So, tea and caffeine have already been alluded to as helping us during our fasting time by helping us even out our energy levels. And the funny thing is that delivered through tea actually comes with other supportive chemicals that help tea not be an irritant. So we are actually getting more clarity, more energy, but more calm at the same time. And it's a unique package that you can only get through tea. So this brings us to our last part where we talk about tea and the other tea. And the reason why I put it like that is tisane. So many other herbs that are being steeped in water we call tea. It could be herbs, it can be barks, it can be berries, but anything that comes from plants that can be soaked, we have, right? And we call it tea. So often it's being used so interchangeably. That's why we're going to get the tea on the tea. So what more can you add? And that would be biochemical and energy support for your intuition through other herbs. Reishi and chaga are two different kinds of mushrooms that specifically target intuition. So with the reishi, it is loosely translates into a spirit herb or herb of immortality, which I absolutely love. It is considered to bridge the heaven and the earth, and it's used in ritual to promote spiritual radiance and transformation. I don't know about you, but that's intuition in a nutshell. So definitely adding reishi and adding mushrooms to tea and coffee have become very trendy, and it's been used by generations of people in Siberia for their health, but it specifically is known to target the pineal gland and affect cognitive abilities, reaction time, judgment, perception, and performance. I also recommend chamomile because it relaxes energy, so it allows you to receive. Fennel. Fennel actually increases energy. It helps reduce sugar craving, which is really great if you're a sugarholic. Adding that to your tea can really be a relief for some people. But it's also a healer and a rejuvenator. Lavender, we all know about lavender, but one area it works on the mind to calm, quiet, but it also works on the ego. Then there's rose. Rose, ancient, sacred herb that opens up the heart. Compassion, understanding, and healing, but it clears the way and allows us to let go of negativity and interfering influences. And lastly, rosemary. You want a cleaner? There you go. Rosemary is a dynamite cleaner that clears away negativity in our thoughts, in our thinking, and helps us access more positivity. Of course, the bottom line is that makes accessing our intuition more accurate, ultimately, and better. So would you like to know more about magic salts and bitters and how to use them with your tea? Well, I'm going to be teaching classes at the Samhain Spirit Summit, and we are celebrating the Carnival of Souls, the celebration of folk magic. And join me and world-class two-headed doctors and lollipop ladies and cunning men and women who will share for 5 whole days tricks and treats in the celebration of folk magic beginning on October 26th through Friday, October 30th. It's available in live and replay. Revel in our celebration of folk magic from teachers and educators as they lift the veil this Hallows Eve to reveal the souls and the spirits of folk magic. 2 weeks of free gifts, flash giveaways, and a grand prize gift basket giveaway worth over $200 for all those who come for free. That's right. Coming to our summit is free, and we would love to have you. I'll be teaching 3 classes there, along with a whole bunch of other presenters who got some dynamite classes on folk magic and how it can improve your life. I will also be leaving a link below about how you can find out about our September spooky tea box and when it's going to be released. So I hope you enjoyed finding out about tea and intermittent fasting, and about how it not only can heal your body and rejuvenate your body, but also do the same for your intuition. I'll see you next time.